collecting 53 of 60 seconds. When it's done, it'll say idle right here.
Okay.
So you can see right now, it should
It also
say,
makes a little sound.
yeah, you can hear
valve.
you can hear there's a valve in there that turns the gas on and off. So now it said it's idle, and it brought up these things. Now, to right-click the right-click menu, you can zoom in, you can zoom out, you can zoom back out. You can scaling auto scale for X and Y. You can add a new region by dragging with the left. I just made a new region. Okay. You can delete all regions. You can add a new background region. They'll come up as blue. Okay. You can add add a new region right here, and then you can review the regions. And there you can see that there's the background, and there is the region that we put in there. All right. So now acquisition. If we want to make a what might you do? We'll make a new method that'll do auto search and things like that. We'll just make we can edit a method. We'll start. We'll make a new one. We'll call it. Let's say FTG. That's the old standby. But I'm getting impatient, so we're going to go for half a minute. And we're going to go, we'll use it with the next tab. Now, very often, I like to put it, there's no place to put the serial number of the detector. So I often put that in here. FTG method.
Why do you need the serial number of the detector in your method?
That will show up in the report.
Okay.
The serial number of the detector doesn't show up anywhere.
Okay.
Anywhere. So I'm a service guy, so I work with instruments, so I think a serial number is a detector. So it's just, that's the bottom line. Okay, so corrections. We're not going to do any corrections. Something that might be interesting, you can, well, this one's really flat. If you count the normalization lane and then use that as your normalization, it should become pretty darn flat. Okay, but we're not going to do any corrections. Integrations, we're going to go to peak search. We're going to go with, say, the starting point 50 and go to 150 millimeters, typically a 100 millimeter plate. And the origin then would be 60 and 110. Okay. I recommend for people, if you're using 100 millimeter plates,
We're using 7.5 millimeter, 75 millimeter plates.
95 length,
3 inch.
3 inch
3
wide,
inch. No, 3 inch length.
3 inch long.
No.
Oh,
1 by 3.
okay. So anyway, if you're doing smaller plates, I recommend that you pick a point. Oops, sorry. These are called carrier plates. And this is a carrier plate, and this is what you put your TLC strip, which is typically plastic or aluminum or glass. If you have glass, you don't necessarily need the carrier plate. What I recommend for people who are using smaller plates is to make a line here, say at 50 millimeters, and then put your plate down starting at that point. Okay? The reason being is if here's our normalization, if you started at 0, if you put it all the way, starting it down here, I know that the response is much higher at this beginning. So if I do actually have some activity here, it's going to be overcompensated because the sensitivity of the detector is higher right here. Where typically, in the middle, it's nice and flat. It's just the way they are. So you want to try, unless you have to, if you're using 20 centimeter plates, you can't stay away from it. But if you can stay away from the very edges of the detector, I would. So I just make either take a tool and make a scratch, or I'll draw a line at 50 millimeters.
Use Sharpie.
Yeah. You can either you make a scratch that'll be permanent, or with a marker that may, with the solvents, may go away, and you have to redo it. Okay, so we've got our integration.
What is this made of? Is it aluminum?
Aluminum. We're going to go 60 to 110, and the peak search, we'll say less than 5. We don't care about anything less than 3%. We use the other parameters, and report. We want to size it for 1 page, and okay. All right, so we'll go to the next one. I've got my next tab set up here. Now we can go acquisition, collection queue. We need to add into that. And we're going to add FDG. We're going to go test 1. Half a minute. Yeah. There, display the results. Next tab. Good. Okay. Then it picks up, moves on over. Done. But it only found 1 peak. What happened?
Because you said the region.
No. It's a trick question because we told it to go from 50 to 150, and these peaks are outside of 50 to 150. There's only 1 peak that's in that 50 to 150 range. Okay, so it found our peak. We can do right click to review the regions, etc. So there's the peak started at 94 millimeters, ended at 108. The center of it is at 100. The RF, the retention factor, is 0.806, and you got 3868 counts, and 98% of the total activity is in the peak. If you say, I really don't like this, I'd like to make this a little bit bigger, you can come down, you can just tweak it if you want. Okay, just by dragging it with the mouse. So let's see other things. So now we can go to print preview. Here's the report. There we go. It shows you the method, when it was evaluated, who did it, what collimator, all this data. Here you can see in the comments is that there. Everything's there on 1 page, nice and neat. Let's try. Let's do it. See if it prints.